Just to remind us to get us started, what exactly is the National Living Wage?
The National Living Wage is a minimum hourly rate set by the government, and it's informed by the Low Pay Commission. They look carefully at the cost of living, and they're essentially trying to help the government achieve a fairer society and economic growth.
So with that in mind, Amy, how much is it going to then, and is it good news today?
It's going up by just over £1 to £11.44. That's an increase of 9.8%. And pay rises are always good news, right? But there is a catch. As we've been hearing all day, the cost of living has not gone away. We've got increases across the board, from water bills, council tax increases, phone and broadband companies putting prices up, the TV licence is going up. So with that backdrop, it's doubtful whether people getting their pay packets at the end of this month are really going to be celebrating very much.
OK, that's a shame to hear that. It felt like good news for a second there.
Yeah.
Amy, now, can we have a little bit on childcare from you, if you don't mind? Because parents in England are being provided with a little bit of extra help there as well, aren't they?
Yes, there's two ways the government are trying to support working parents to get back into the labour market. Firstly, they're increasing the level of funding available for what has been called free childcare. You've probably heard people questioning whether it's realistic to call it free, because parents are often charged extra for things like nappies, food, etc. when they're putting their child into nursery. But if we call it free childcare, what's happening in the latest rollout is that more children will be eligible to get 15 hours childcare from the age of 2. And from September this year, younger children for the first time ever, from 9 months old, are also eligible for that 15 hours. And next year, that's going to increase further to 30 hours. So the idea is to get more working parents, particularly mothers, to be able to afford to go back to work. And the second way that the government are trying to support families in terms of childcare costs is they've moved the eligibility threshold for child benefit payments, which are worth around £2,000. They've moved it up from 50,000 to 60,000 as the cut-off for the minimum income, and then they've extended it up to 80,000. So that's the point where you have to pay the whole lot back in tax. So a lot of parents would choose not to bother at that point.
So is there going to be a wee benefit to the government as well, decoding all of that?
Yes, the reason that the government want wages to go up is that they need people to have more spending power to achieve the economic growth that Rishi Sunak keeps talking about. They've got to be really careful when they're raising wages. There's two risks that they're weighing up. And if you were to ask, could they have raised the national living wage higher than they have at this point, the reasons why the Low Pay Commission have probably suggested they don't put it any higher at this stage. Firstly, small businesses simply wouldn't be able to absorb any more of an increase. That could potentially lead to job losses or smaller firms cutting workers' hours. And secondly, there's an inflationary risk. If you give people too much spending power back, you could see inflation rising right back up to where it was last year, and that's the opposite of what the government wants to achieve.
OK, it's a tightrope. Amy Knight, thank you so much for your time tonight. Personal finance expert at NerdWallet UK. Thank you, Amy.
Pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, let's bring in someone direct